Now, this is not an episode of Elmo's World. This is another unfortunate episode of Rene's World. So this was the green screen I was talking about the other day when I mentioned the L-shaped one that I had to take apart when I destroyed the vocal booth / green screen for the 4th time. This is the L-shaped puppy, the monstrosity. Just want to give you a quick look of what that little engineering feature looked like. Yep, there's the bottom half. And it's connected, because I didn't want all that stuff to fall apart, with, can you see that? Little clips and fishing line to keep that puppy taut. Because another problem I ran into was that if it's not taut, and this is always with green screen, you end up having wrinkles, which produce shadows, which ruin your keys. It makes it a lot more difficult to key that stuff out in post-production. But I'm not using this anymore. My wife actually gave me the go-ahead to destroy this after we created it together. I must say I was relieved that she brought up the destruction first, because I was quite concerned with the amount of effort and sewing as she partook in this little adventure for me to then decide it was all for naught. But I want to show you something a little less glamorous than the green screen. Right now, that's glamorous. That's not what I wanted to show you, though. It's a magazine that came in the mail. This stuff here is a table full of, some people would call it junk. I would also call it junk, mostly. Ooh, showing you receipts. I probably shouldn't show you that stuff. And I might blur that out. Stuff that I had to take apart from my room when constructing the shelving that I showed you the other day. By the way, this is episode day 19 of the 30-day challenge, where we're challenged to speak for at least 60 seconds and at least one day for 60 minutes straight. Now that I've got that out of the way, this junk on the table I showed you was so that I could get these shelves built. And I did show you the shelves the other day. But here we are again with the shelves semi-populated. Some stuff down there, some stuff down there. The rest of it's in darkness. Mystery, mystery. I'll fill it up later. Here is the source of the stuff we saw in the closet. Those two down below are gone and empty. Those two on the top remain. And why am I showing you that? That's not exciting. The exciting part, maybe, if you even want to call it excitement, is dealing with the overwhelm. And I've talked a lot about overwhelm and being distracted and unitasking and just getting one thing done at a time before you allow yourself to engage in any other projects. But one of the problems that we run into at times when we're dealing with a project is the overwhelming number of details and visual clutter and mental clutter and just all kinds of clutter. The visual clutter is, I have found, one of the easiest things to tackle. You got a room like this. It's got a lot of stuff. Not a lot of space, but a lot of stuff. And you want to do something crazy like tear apart the closet that you used to own that was built in with a house and take all those items and stick it into that little closet that you then built some shelves into. There's so much stuff that if you lay it out in your room as you start trying to take it apart, you start stepping on things. You start being worried about breaking something potentially expensive, especially if you got a room with studio equipment, computers, yada yada. Take it out of your room. It's a very simple thing. Now, it's not simple in the sense that you have to ask for permission to destroy another room that does not belong to you entirely. This room, for the most part, I own entirely, as far as I'd like to think of it, because I pay the bills, but this is where I work. All the other rooms either belong to somebody else entirely, like my kids' rooms, my wife's room, whatever, or it's a communal room, like the TV room, like the living room, kitchen, stuff like that. So take everything out of the space where you are going to start a project that seems overwhelming after you get permission, if you live with somebody, to move this into another room. And that's what I did. I said, honey, would you mind if I cover your dining room table with a bunch of junk? I didn't use the word junk. It's just YouTube, and I'm trying to be family friendly. But I said, it's going to be there for probably 4, maybe 5 days. And I think I heard her say, yes. Yes, she wouldn't mind. Not yes, she would mind. And so I went ahead and moved it all. And now all of a sudden, instead of looking at junk on the floor and trying not to step over it and not break it, I actually have some floor space to work in. And all the junk, the visual clutter, is somewhere where I don't have to see it. Now, I have to make good on my contractual obligations of 4 to 5 days. So once I'm done with that room, I better come out here and tackle this stuff and get it the heck out of there. That way, when next I go to sign a contract with the wife, she'll remember that the last one went smoothly and that I was honest about my signature at the end where I said what I would be doing and what I wouldn't be doing. So I'll have a better chance of negotiating with the wife in the future. That's my tip for you today. As silly as that sounded. Catch you tomorrow.